What's going on, family? Back with another video. Wanted to get into a subject that's becoming more of an issue in our lives, more prevalent and noticeable in our lives. Something that we really concerned about and we want to kind of help with, but kind of seems like it's nothing we can really help with. That subject being bullying. Bullying when it comes to special needs or autistic children. Like I said, we're finding that it's becoming a more prevalent issue. It's not right. We all know bullying is not right, but I think it is something that is, I don't want to use the word inevitable, but it is something that you're just going to see. I think a lot of people, neurotypical and special needs, have dealt with some form of bullying in their life. So we can all assume that everybody will be bullied at a certain point in their life. But yeah, I think it's more of a problem with, of course, with special needs or autistic children. We're finding a lot of bullying happening with Matthew in particular. Between school, we now have the twins in the Boys and Girls Club. Like I said, it seems like it's something that just can't be stopped. There is a feeling like we don't know how to help him deal with being bullied because it's just going to happen anyway. The issue I feel like with him is the fact that he is what you would consider high functioning autistic or having high functioning autism. And just a quick definition, it's self-explanatory in my opinion, but just to kind of clear up what high functioning autism is. High functioning autism usually refers to people with autism who have no intellectual disability or delay in verbal speech development, and whose symptoms of autism have less of an impact in their daily lives. Matthew does have high functioning autism. He's very intellectually smart. He is able to communicate verbally, you know, sometimes in a way that is so specific and clear, if you will, that you wouldn't think he's autistic, right? The problem with it is that we're seeing this nonetheless affect his life. We're seeing this affect his having social relationships or social friendships. We're seeing it affect a lot of aspects of his life because he's just autistic. He doesn't think the same way as, you know, the other kids, or he doesn't find interest in the same things as the other kids. So it's starting to have, you know, kind of take a toll on him to where it seems like he can't go anywhere and have fun with other kids. He can't be sociable or social, and it's just affecting him. It's affecting his overall mental space, which we don't like. Like I said, I particularly feel like it is almost inevitable. But I also feel like there's things that he could do to integrate in society and things that he could maybe change about himself, or that autistic children could learn how to adapt to society, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'll just start with, you know, the school thing. Starting year one, we started noticing issues with Matthew at school, not necessarily with the other kids or bullying or anything like that, but the way that the teachers responded to how he was in the classroom. The teacher was having more discipline issues with Matthew, whether he was talking too much in class, whether he was drawing and not doing his schoolwork, or, you know, there was just a lot of behavioral things that the teacher was finding an issue with him. And we're thinking the whole time, maybe he just doesn't like his teacher, maybe it's just the lessons are just boring to him, and things like that. And then get to second grade, we started seeing a little more the same kind of issues behavior wise, and then started getting a little more of having social issues. Fast forward to the current year, which would be grade 3 for them. It's been a lot more social issues. Now, the funny part about this, and this is the problem I'm having with the school system itself when it comes to special needs children. As you all know, or if you don't know, we're here in Texas. We live in Texas. So upon my research, I've discovered that Texas itself has a really, really big problem with accommodating special needs children. They're just not doing it, or not doing it effectively at all. We can even go all the way back to 2018. There was a formal investigation done, which basically found out that Texas itself, the state of Texas, was not providing the right funding for autistic or special needs children at the schools. They weren't hiring the necessary amount of instructors to handle autistic or special needs children. And there's just a whole slew. I mean, I can go on for article after article, which I'll probably have in the description down below. You guys can read for yourself if you're here in Texas and are concerned about this. But I can get into that some other time. But not only was he having social issues with the other kids, bullying in particular. This is when we really saw bullying start to really affect him. And alongside that, also having issues with his teacher. Now, the funny part is that his teacher was aware that he was autistic. Before their third grade year, this previous school year, before it started, when we first went to have the meet and greet with the teacher, she could already tell, based on what she told us, she could already tell that he was what she considered to have Asperger's, which is another form they've lumped in with level 1 autism, which level 1 autism is your more high functioning autistic people. So she was understanding that he was pretty certain that he had Asperger's, which is autism, because her husband actually has autism, as she expressed to us. So he did a lot of the same things and had the same mannerisms and different things that she sees in her husband. So she understood that that's pretty much what he had. But going through the school year, she was having a lot of disciplinary issues, but it seemed like autism or Asperger's or whatever you want to call it, special needs, wasn't taken into account as to why he was behaving this way. Even though she understood how he was, it's like it wasn't even considered because he didn't have a formal diagnosis, whether through the school or through like a clinical doctor's diagnosis, right? So it just seemed like she felt like there was nothing she could do about it because she didn't have to do anything because there was no documentation. Now, the weird part is that, and this goes back to the issues with the state of Texas, is that it had to be maybe week 1 that we put in the paperwork to get him diagnosed on the school level. Well, long story short, we didn't have the meeting to determine or to diagnose him on the school level of having autism or being a special needs child until literally the last day of school, this previous school year. So we'll see how next year goes. But again, it just made him appear to just have disciplinary issues when we're understanding that he's just autistic. So with all that being said, the social issues that we started to notice was him being bullied. He came home, it seemed like every day, saying that somebody bullied him on the playground. Somebody in the classroom was blaming him for, other people getting in trouble or calling him a snitch, for telling the teacher certain things that the other kids were doing, or, there was a situation where somebody on the playground ran up and punched him in the eye and ran away. So it was a big deal for his third grade year. Now we're dealing with the same thing again. It's the summertime. We ended up getting the kids into the Boys and Girls Club, trying to have them active throughout the summer, not just sitting at home watching TV or, not necessarily studying on schoolwork and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted them to branch out and experience some new things, which is the key thing to this, of what we were trying to accomplish for them. But now we're seeing the same issues, he's coming home saying he's being bullied there. What I think is that it's not something that we as parents can really help with that much. If you guys have ever had your children experience bullying, definitely comment and let us know how you guys dealt with it. Whether y'all were able to overcome it or not. But for me, it just seems like it's going to be a life of lessons being learned. What he's getting bullied about is, of course, things that he can't necessarily control, but it's also like Matthew doesn't know how to stand up for himself in a way. He doesn't know the difference between somebody cracking jokes and bullying, true bullying, which I understand that they can both be one and the same thing. But just from my personal observation, it seems like because he's so different in how he does things, and he's creative, but how he's creative, if none of the other children are creative in that same way, they won't understand. He would just be looked at as weird, which is a typical thing if you ask me when it comes to autism. Yeah, so overall, this is a challenging subject. I feel like life will be challenging for him. For most autistic kids growing up in the school system, homeschooling is always an option. Homeschooling is, I would like to say, highly supported here in Texas, but it's not encouraged or supported. And I only say it's not supported because there is no type of funding. You don't get help here in Texas if you're trying to homeschool. There are the public school online, courses that they can take, which is completely free. But it's regardless, that would then, I feel like, make kids more socially awkward in itself. So the bullying thing, man, it's not right whatsoever, but it is almost inevitable. And I think the best thing that could help anybody being bullied, not just special needs or autistic children from being bullied, is just to learn how to adapt and mask, if you will. It's tough, but I mean, if the rest of the world doesn't see the way that I see, for instance, I can't change the world, right? Only thing I can do is change myself. I grew up the same way in a sense. I grew up with being the nerd, if you will, being the quiet, awkward guy. But I also didn't really get bullied like that because I knew how to blend in. It's just one of those things that if you can't beat them, join them. With the kids growing up in today's school environments, I feel like it's a lot tougher today. But I mean, what else can you do? It's just a tough thing when you're not in the school environment while they're there or can't be. The bully, their parents aren't there. They can't control what the kids do and say. The teacher can't control it. They can maybe only, but so much though. But it's just one of them things that people will have to learn how to adapt to society in a way. It's a tough situation. I'm trying to find ways of helping him. I like to encourage him. I like to make him feel comfortable that he's just different and that's okay. But regardless, he's still gonna have to go somewhere with some other kids that's still gonna do it. So it's hard to know that kind of information, to know that my difference is okay when they gotta go and be around 30, 20, however many other kids who don't think it's okay. I feel like just the more experiences they can be shown or be exposed to, I should say, would help them develop those skills or sharpen their skills in a way, because you don't know what you don't know. If you crumble the first time you run into these issues, it's not going to fix the issues. There's always going to be a bully somewhere. There's always going to be somebody that think the next person is weird. A lot of times that just stems from self-conscious issues, but a kid don't understand that. So the only thing I feel like we can do as parents, the best thing I would say that we can do is to allow them to experience how life would be. The twins are only 9 years old. This ain't gonna be the only time that they experience this in their life. The worst thing that I would feel like I failed at is not exposing them to this as children, and they grow up and be adults and experience this and have no type of training, no type of real world examples of how to deal with these types of situations. Yeah, I just wanted to get on here, and kind of express that. Like I said, it's something that we dealing with. We're trying to find effective ways of helping him without coddling him, without babying him and making it seem like the world is just wrong. Yeah, there's a lot of wrong things in the world, but everybody got wrong things about themselves too, because if they didn't, the world wouldn't be, because the world is made up of people. So, yeah, hope this helps somebody. Hope somebody can help us with some, maybe some tips and pointers y'all might have for us. Definitely comment them down below. So yeah, like I said, hope this helps, and y'all have a good one.